Shalom. Welcome to Voice of Torah, brought to you by Bet Yisrael International. Today, our host agents Avraham and Sarah guide us into Lech Lecha Tikkun Brit Hadshah, Abraham's journey of covenant and divine purpose. This path of Lech Lecha, leaving behind the familiar to follow God's call, is a journey of transformation and faith that echoes through the ages. With insights from Gaddi Efrayim, our hosts explore Abraham's emunah, faith, as he forges a covenant that becomes a foundation of spiritual tikkun rectification for all. This story speaks directly to Bet Yisrael's mission of connecting exiled souls worldwide through the light of Torah and Mashiach, uniting hearts and renewing purpose. Join us as we rediscover Abraham's journey and find inspiration in his faith, courage, and the divine call that transcends time. May our study together reconnect us to the eternal covenant and uplift our spirits.
Today, we honor Mr. Robert Mayer, a devoted and supporter of Bet Yisrael International. For over 25 years, Robert has been a beacon of faith and dedication, immersing himself in the sacred teachings of the Torah, the prophets, and the Brit Hadshah. Honestly speaking, his zealous commitment to the lost tribes of Israel and his unwavering kindness toward the house of Ephraim have enriched our community beyond measure. Robert's heartfelt prayers for the lost sheep of Israel embody his deep longing for their return to the ancient paths of Torah wisdom. We are profoundly grateful for his honorable service and steadfast support of our heavenly mission. Thank you.
Hey everyone, ready for something pretty wild?
I think this one's going to bend some minds.
Yeah, I'm excited about this deep dive
You too.
into grafting in Jewish thought.
Not the kind you do in a garden, though.
Exactly.
We're talking spiritual grafting here.
And we've got like the whole spectrum of Jewish sources.
Oh yeah, we're talking Torah, Talmud, even Kabbalah and Chassidut.
It's going to be a wild ride.
What's really interesting is I think what we're going to see in these texts is how they talk about this idea of connection to something bigger than ourselves.
Right, that feeling of belonging to like a spiritual lineage or something.
Yeah, exactly. And what's even crazier, they talk about how people from totally different backgrounds could all find that connection.
Like a spiritual home.
Yeah, a spiritual home. And get this.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah.
Lay it on me.
These sources actually link this idea of grafting to the mission of Yeshua HaTzaddik.
No way.
Wait,
You mean like...
gathering the lost sheep of Israel.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we're going there.
We're going there.
I'm already hooked. But before we, go full-on mystical,
All right.
let's back up a little.
Okay. Why does Bet Yisrael think we're so lost in the first place?
They believe that as time has gone on, humanity's gotten more and more disconnected from our spiritual roots. Like we've strayed from the source.
Oh, okay.
And that feeling of being lost, like searching for something more to them, that's kind of the echo of that disconnect.
So how did they propose we get back? They got like a spiritual GPS or something?
You could say that. They point to a few things. First, they've got this unique take on the Torah.
Okay.
They don't see it just as a bunch of rules, but like a mystical map, a guidebook for unlocking our potential, reconnecting with the divine, that kind of thing.
A map, a guidebook. Are we talking the actual scrolls here or what?
That's where it gets really interesting. See, they believe to truly get the Torah, you got to go beyond just the words themselves.
Okay.
Tap into deeper spiritual dimensions. They call it the Torah of Mashiach.
How does Bet Yisrael bring it down to earth?
Well, that's where their interpretation gets really interesting. See, they believe that Tikkun Olam, it's not just these big sweeping things, like ending world hunger or achieving world peace,
right.
Although obviously those are huge. But they say even the smallest things, if you do them with the right intention, that can be Tikkun Olam too.
So like doing the dishes because you care about your roommates, helping an old lady cross the street, that all matters in this big repair.
Exactly. They're saying every single act is an opportunity, a chance to elevate the physical world, bring it closer to that divine harmony, bridging that gap, between the spiritual and the everyday. It's not about escaping this world. It's about transforming it from the inside out.
Like I'm picturing it now, with every act of kindness, every time we choose compassion over being selfish. It's like we're stitching the world back together, thread by thread.
I love that. That's such a great analogy.
Yeah.
And it's not just our actions either, but our own connection to the divine too, right?
Right.
Remember that whole lost sheep feeling we were talking about?
Yeah.
Bet Yisrael would say that part of the repair is us reestablishing our own connection to a higher purpose.
Throughout history, plenty of groups have claimed to have the answers, to have the one true path.
Oh, absolutely.
The universal message. Why should we pay attention to what Beit Yisrael's saying?
You're absolutely right to point that out. And, Beit Yisrael isn't claiming some kind of monopoly on truth. Right. What I find intriguing is their emphasis on, interconnectedness. They see themselves as part of a much bigger tapestry of spiritual seeking. They draw wisdom from tons of traditions, but they still ground their worldview in those specific interpretations of Chassidut, Kabbalah, and of course, Mashiach.
So less our way is the only way, and more, hey, we're on this journey and these tools we found, we think they could be helpful for you too.
Precisely.
What does Beit Yisrael's impact actually look like in action?
One of the most striking things is their work in,
They're reaching out, building bridges with others who share those values.
Yeah, exactly. They get that. Creating a more just world, a compassionate world, it takes collaboration.
Yes.
Understanding between different viewpoints. And it's not just talk either. They've been super active in environmental stuff, promoting sustainability, care for the planet. That's a core part of their whole Tikkun Olam thing.
Okay, that's pretty impressive. But with all this talk of global transformation, bringing divine consciousness to the world, gotta ask, how do they measure success? What does a more divine world actually look like for them?
Man, that is the question, right?
Right.
And it's something they're constantly grappling with. It's not like checking off boxes or achieving some perfect utopia.
Yeah.
They see it as this ongoing process, a journey, not a destination. For them, success is measured by the positive ripples that their actions, their teachings create, by the people who are inspired to live these more meaningful lives, purpose-driven.
So it's less about these big pronouncements, more about those individual aha moments.
Yeah, exactly.
Ones that spark that change from within.
Exactly. The belief is that as more people connect with that inner spark of the divine, the world naturally kind of shifts towards more harmony, more compassion, more peace. It's that ripple effect. One person, one action, one act of Tikkun Olam at a time.
If you're planting seeds,
Yeah.
nurturing them, and then trusting they'll bloom when it's the time.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And look, they're not naive. They get that there are huge challenges out there, conflicts, injustice, the environment. But they approach it all with this sense of hope,
Okay.
this optimism, because they just have this really strong belief in the power of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
To create a better future.
Yeah. That's the message I think a lot of people can get behind these days. So for someone listening to all this, maybe feeling a little like that lost ship we talked about.
Yeah.
What's the takeaway? What would Beit Yisrael say is step one on that journey back to that sense of purpose, that divine connection?
Honestly, I think they'd say don't underestimate yourself. Don't underestimate the power of your own actions, your own intentions. Every choice, no matter how small, it either adds to the problem or it's part of the solution. It's about asking, what can I do today in my own life that embodies those values?
Compassion.
Yes.
Justice.
Tikkun Olam.
It's about remembering that we're not just watching this all happen, right? We're in it. We're creating the world we want to see. And who knows, maybe by tapping into that divine spark within ourselves, we help it light the way for other people too.
Beautifully said. And that idea, that shared purpose,
Yeah.
working together for something bigger than ourselves, I think that might be the most powerful part of Beit Yisrael's message.
It's a message that honestly leaves me feeling challenged, but hopeful too. Challenged to do better, but hopeful that maybe, just maybe, we're not as lost as we think we are. There's a path. And it starts with us.
What does grafting even mean?
Right. Good point.
I'm picturing taking a branch from one tree and
Sticking it onto another.
yeah, Frankensteining a tree?
You're not wrong, actually.
Really?
Yeah. In the agricultural sense, grafting is literally taking a branch.
Yeah.
And you join it to a different tree's root system.
So it can live off that other tree.
Exactly. The branch gets to thrive.
From the other tree's roots.
Yeah. It draws life from a strong, established root system.
So are we saying people can draw life from
a different spiritual root system.
Whoa.
It's a powerful image, right?
Okay. So instead of sap flowing through that branch, it's spiritual energy.
I like that. Yeah, spiritual energy.
And who's the root we're talking about here?
Well, the main player here is Abraham.
Abraham.
Yep. Genesis 12:3, God makes this huge promise to Abraham. It says, all the families of the ground will be grafted in you.
Whoa, so that makes Abraham like the ultimate patriarch.
Exactly. He's the source of blessing, the spiritual foundation.
So wait, if all families are grafted into Abraham,
Yeah.
does that mean anyone can be part of this lineage?
Yeah. Now you're getting it.
It's like completely flips the script on who's in and who's out. Right.
It definitely challenges those ideas of exclusivity.
Okay, so what did like the big commentators, like what do they have to say about this?
Well, take Rishishi, for example.
Yeah.
He believed that this verse meant
It's okay.
all nations would eventually recognize
Recognize what?
the source of their blessings coming from Abraham.
So it wasn't just about being a descendant of Abraham, it was about recognizing his role.
Right. He saw it as this universal flow of blessing going out to the whole world.
It's beautiful, actually.
Yeah, like Abraham becomes this wellspring of spiritual energy.
That anyone can tap into.
Right.
Did any other commentators have, interesting takes on this?
Oh, yeah. For instance, Ramban.
Ramban, yeah. I love Ramban.
He really emphasizes how Abraham set a precedent.
A precedent for what?
For connecting to the divine.
So it's not just about lineage, it's about how you live your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's saying it's not just about being a descendant, it's about emulating Abraham's righteousness.
Okay, so it's an active thing.
Yes. Ramban is showing us that Abraham provided a pathway.
A pathway for what?
For all humanity.
To do what?
To access God's presence and blessings.
So it's not just passive, like you're born into it.
Right.
It's about actively seeking that connection and like living a certain way.
Yeah. Living in a way that honors that connection.
That's deep. Huh. Okay, so if it's open to everyone,
Yeah.
why do we even talk about the lost sheep of Israel?
Ooh, good question.
Who are they,
Right.
and how do they fit into this whole grafting thing?
I think that's where the metaphor gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm ready.
The lost sheep are those who have strayed from that connection, whether it's through their actions or just by losing sight of the source.
So it's like those branches getting knocked off the tree.
Exactly.
But if anyone can be grafted in, does that mean anyone can also be cut off?
Now you're getting to the heart of it.
It seems pretty intense.
It does raise the stakes, for sure.
Is that even a thing, like being cut off?
The concept of being cut off definitely exists in Jewish thought.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's a powerful idea. Even unsettling, maybe.
Definitely unsettling.
But before we go there,
Okay.
let's talk about another key metaphor.
You hit me.
The olive tree.
Ooh.
You familiar with that one?
Yeah, the olive tree is like a big symbol in Judaism, right?
You got it.
Something to do with like Israel and God's covenant.
Exactly. The olive tree represents that special relationship.
Oh, okay.
And the fruit of the olive tree, it symbolizes the righteous deeds.
The deeds that come from living according to the covenant.
Exactly. Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch, he wrote extensively about this.
Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch. Okay, I've heard of him.
A prominent Jewish thinker.
Cool. So is that where Rabbi Shaul comes in with his whole grafting thing?
Which one are you thinking of?
The one in his letter to the Romans.
Oh, right.
He talks about both Jews and non-Jews being grafted into this olive tree, right?
You're totally on the right track.
Yes.
Rabbi Shaul uses this powerful image of the olive tree to explain how both groups, both Jews and non-Jews, they can become part of this spiritual lineage.
So he's drawing a direct parallel to the physical act of grafting.
Absolutely. Showing how people from all backgrounds can be nourished by that same root.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
But what does it actually mean to be grafted in?
Ooh, good question.
Is it just about saying you belong, or is there something more to it?
That's a question that gets right to the core of this whole concept.
I knew it.
And to really answer that,
Yeah.
you need to understand who's doing the grafting.
Oh, like who's the one taking the branch and sticking it on the tree?
Yeah. Who's guiding those lost sheep back to the source?
Sounds like we're about to meet the spiritual gardener.
Maybe so, maybe so.
I love it. All right, I'm ready for part 2.
Let's do it.
So who is this spiritual gardener?
Okay.
Are we talking angels?
Maybe not angels.
Ooh, even more mysterious.
In Jewish mysticism, there's this figure of the tzaddik.
The tzaddik.
This is like a righteous person.
Okay.
Someone deeply connected to God. For others who are trying to find that same connection.
Okay, so if the olive tree is like the visual,
Yeah.
the tzaddik is like the one like tending the tree.
Exactly. It's not just about waiting for people to find their way back.
Right.
The tzaddik actively seeks out those who are lost.
So like guiding those branches back to the source.
Precisely.
That totally makes me think of what Yeshua HaTzaddik said
Oh, yeah.
in Matthew 15.24.
What's that one?
When he says that he was sent specifically for the lost sheep of Israel,
Right.
it's like he totally saw himself in that shepherd role.
It's such a clear connection to that ancient tradition.
It's pretty amazing.
And, even in the Hebrew Bible,
Yeah.
you see this longing, this idea of lost sheep and the need for a shepherd.
Oh, yeah, like Jeremiah. Right.
Exactly. He laments,
My people have been lost sheep. Their shepherds have led them astray.
That's the one. It really highlights that responsibility.
Of the tzaddik.
Right, the true shepherd, to
Wow.
guide those who are lost.
We talk a lot about Yeshua HaTzaddik on this show.
We do.
And today we're going to be looking at his mission
Okay.
to the lost sheep of Israel,
Right.
but through a specific lens, that of grafting in Jewish thought.
Interesting.
And it's going to give us some really unique insights, I think, into some spiritual dynamics
Okay.
and the universal mission of Israel.
Sounds good.
So to kind of guide us through all this, we're going to be using a system of Torah interpretation.
It stands for Parshat, Remez, Drash, and Sod.
Parshat, Remez, Drash, and Sod.
That's right. And these 4 levels correspond to 4 different levels of understanding a text. So Parshat is like the literal, straightforward meaning. Remez is like the hint or the illusion that's kind of hidden beneath the surface.
Okay.
Drash is the homiletical level, where you kind of draw out ethical or moral teachings.
Okay.
And then Sod is the secret or the mystical level.
Wow.
Where you really kind of delve into the deeper esoteric meaning.
Okay, so like 4 different lenses almost to look at the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Okay, cool. So let's start then with the first one,
Sure.
with the Parshat, the literal.
Yeah.
When we look at Yeshua's mission through that lens, what is it that we're seeing?
So on the most basic level, Yeshua's mission was about restoring the people of Israel to the divine covenant.
Okay.
It was about reminding them of their unique relationship with God, and calling them back to a life of Torah and mitzvot.
Okay.
It's almost like, imagine a family
Yeah.
that has drifted apart,
Yeah.
and he's trying to bring them back together.
Right, bring that unity back.
Ex-
Okay, so now let's move on to Remez,
Okay.
the hint. So what deeper meaning or implication is hinted at here?
So the Remez suggests that this mission to the lost sheep wasn't just about one particular group of people.
What?
It hints at something much bigger, the idea of Israel as a light to the nations.
Okay.
It suggests that Israel's role is to be a beacon of truth and morality for the entire world, enabling others to connect with the divine covenant as well.
So like a conduit almost.
Exactly. Yeah, like a bridge.
Yeah.
Allowing others to cross over and access that same spiritual connection.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So that leads us to the drash,
Right.
the homiletical level.
Okay.
What moral lesson or teaching can we glean from this whole idea of grafting?
Well, on the drash level, this image of grafting really speaks to this universal human longing for belonging and wholeness.
Oh, God.
We all want to feel connected, to feel rooted in something meaningful.
Yeah.
And this idea of grafting reminds us that even when we feel lost or broken off, we can always be reconnected. We can always find our way back to our source.
Like a branch that's been broken off but can be grafted back on?
Exactly. Think of a branch that's been cut off.
Yeah.
It withers and dies without nourishment from the roots.
Right.
And in a spiritual sense, we can feel that same way when we're disconnected from our source of meaning and purpose.
Yeah, I like that.
So grafting is about finding that reconnection and flourishing.
Okay, so now we get to dive into the really intriguing part, the sod.
The sod. Yeah.
The mystical level.
Right.
So tell me, what does Kabbalah have to say about this whole idea of grafting?
So on the sod level, this is where Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, really comes in.
Okay.
And it offers a profound understanding of this concept.
Okay.
So Kabbalah teaches that there's this divine light that's been scattered throughout creation.
Okay.
Like sparks.
Sparks.
Yeah, and these sparks, they represent souls or aspects of the divine that have become separated from their source. And the goal is to gather these lost...
So grafting isn't just about, like, being included.
Right.
It's about actually being restored.
Yes. Being brought back to that source of spiritual energy.
And the Baal Shem Tov.
Oh, the Beshit.
I always think of him as the OG Chassidut master.
Yeah.
Did he have anything to say about this?
Absolutely. The Beshit believed that the tzaddik
Yeah.
doesn't just teach those who are already connected.
Right.
He actively seeks out those who are searching, the lost ones.
So the tzaddik isn't just like chilling in the orchard.
No way.
They're out in the wilderness looking for those broken branches.
That's a great way to put it.
It's a powerful image. And it makes me think of Rabbi Shaul again.
Oh, yeah. Back to Rabbi Shaul.
In Romans 11,
Okay.
he warns those who have been grafted in
Yeah.
that they shouldn't become arrogant.
Because they could be broken off.
Oh, wow.
It's a pretty stark reminder that this connection,
To the source.
yeah, it's not a one-time deal.
Right.
It requires humility, you know,
For sure.
and a constant awareness of where that nourishment is coming from.
You constantly have to tend to that connection.
Exactly.
Okay, so we talked about the tzaddik as this active force in grafting,
Yeah,
bringing people back.
right.
But is there something that works against it?
Ooh,
Like something that causes that separation in the first place?
that's a really deep question.
I know, right?
And I think to answer it,
Yeah.
we need to dive into some mystical territory.
Bring on the mysticism.
This is where Kabbalah comes in.
All right, let's get mystical. What does Kabbalah have to say about all this?
So in Kabbalah, there's this core concept, Tikkun. It's about gathering and elevating these sparks of holiness that have been scattered throughout the world.
Scattered sparks. That's interesting.
Right.
So is Tikkun like putting the pieces back together?
Yeah, like a puzzle.
Yeah, or like a shattered vase or something.
That's a great analogy.
So you're restoring that original wholeness.
Exactly. And Rabbi Isaac Luria, you know him.
The Arizal.
That's the one. He was a major figure in Kabbalah.
Yeah, I've heard of
He actually connected this idea of tikkun
to grafting.
directly to grafting, just like branches can be grafted back onto a tree.
Okay.
So too can people, even nations.
Be reintegrated into their divine source.
Precisely.
Wow, so it's like this cosmic puzzle and we're all part of the solution.
That's a beautiful way to think about it.
Okay, but how does that reintegration actually happen?
Yeah, like what brings those pieces back together?
Right.
Well, the Zohar has something to say about this.
Zohar, the big mystical text, right?
Yeah. Another key text in Kabbalah.
Cool, what does it say?
The Zohar teaches that the tzaddik,
The tzaddik again.
yeah, they actually play a key role in tikkun
Okay.
by acting as a conduit for those scattered sparks.
To return to their source.
Yes.
So the tzaddik isn't just tending the tree.
Yep.
They're gathering those scattered seeds.
Right.
Helping them find their way back to the roots.
It's like a cosmic gardener
I love it.
nurturing those seeds back to life.
This is a really hopeful image.
Yeah, it reminds us that we all have a part to play in this.
Okay, but remember earlier when we talked about being cut off from the source?
Oh,
Yeah, that seemed a little less hopeful.
a little bit, yeah.
Does Kabbalah have anything to say about that?
It does.
Yeah.
This is where we run into the concept of kareth.
Kareth.
It literally means to be cut off.
Oof, that sounds serious.
Yeah, it's a heavy concept in Jewish thought.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
Explain it to me like I'm back in Hebrew school, but without the pop quiz.
No pop quizzes, I promise.
Deal. So what does it mean to be cut off? So Kareth, being cut off, sounds pretty final.
It does, doesn't it?
Like getting kicked out of the spiritual club?
It's a serious concept.
Okay, so what does it actually,
What does it mean?
yeah, like what does it look like?
Well, the term kareth, you find it throughout Jewish texts.
Okay.
And it refers to this deep
Deep what?
spiritual separation from God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's seen as the consequence of some serious stuff.
Serious stuff.
Yeah, like really serious transgressions or even a complete rejection of the covenant.
So it's not just like messing up a little.
No.
It's about totally severing those ties.
That's the intensity of it.
Okay, so Bramban,
Yeah.
the commentator we talked about before.
Right.
How did he describe Kareth?
He called it a spiritual death. Like
All
that
right.
life-giving energy, remember?
The sap flowing through the branch.
Exactly. It gets totally cut off.
So the branch basically withers and dies.
That's the image.
And it's not just like an Old Testament concept, right?
Yeah.
You're right.
Doesn't Yeshua HaTzaddik talk about being cut off?
He does.
I vaguely remember something from Revelation.
Yeah, in Revelation 2, Yeshua warns that those who abandon their faith,
Yeah.
they'll be cut off from the tree of life.
Yeah, Rabbi Shaul.
Oh, yeah, Rabbi Shaul too. In Romans 11,
What does he say?
he says that those who become arrogant,
Yeah.
and detached from the source.
They risk being broken off from that olive tree.
Right.
So this warning, it's everywhere. across different traditions and eras.
It's a consistent theme.
It's like a serious wake-up call.
Yeah, that spiritual connection is fragile.
It's not something to take for granted.
Exactly. The opportunity for grafting.
For reconnection.
Yeah, it comes with responsibility.
It's not just about, like, getting the benefits.
Right.
It's about actually living in a way that honors that connection.
That's like we talked about before, right?
With the olive tree.
Yeah, we have to tend to that connection, nourish it.
And make sure we're bearing good fruit. Exactly. Our actions, our choices, our way of being in the world.
Those are the fruits.
They show whether we're really connected to that source.
I like that. Okay, so how do we avoid being cut off?
Right.
How do we make sure we stay grafted in, keep those spiritual juices flowing?
I think it comes down to recognizing that grafting isn't a one and done kind of thing.
It's a process.
Yeah.
It takes effort.
Constant effort.
Commitment to growth.
And like actively making choices that align with the divine.
Exactly.
So it's not about checking a box or anything.
Yeah.
It's about actively cultivating that connection every day.
Right.
Wow, it's like a spiritual practice.
It is.
And it's about remembering that we're not in this alone, right?
Yeah, we need each other. Just like branches on a tree, we all rely on that same root system.
We need each other for support, for encouragement.
For guidance, too.
We're all in this orchard together. But what about those who've already been cut off?
Good question.
Is there hope for them?
Yeah, is there any coming back from that? Like, can a withered branch be grafted back on?
Well, this is where the message of hope comes in.
Okay, I like hope.
A lot of Jewish sages,
Yeah.
they believe that even those who've strayed the furthest,
They can still find their way back.
yes. In fact, they see this process of reintegration.
Of gathering all those scattered sparks.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate goal of the Messianic age.
So in that future time, everyone's reunited.
That's the vision.
Back in that flow of spiritual energy.
Yeah. All those divisions and separations just fade away.
That's beautiful.
The scattered sparks all gathered, the lost sheep found.
The entire tree of life, like, flourishing in harmony.
Exactly. It's an amazing image of unity and wholeness.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered so much in this deep dive.
I know, right?
From the basics of grafting to some pretty deep mystical concepts.
It's just been a journey.
So what are like the key takeaways for everyone listening?
I think the biggest thing to remember
Yeah.
is that spiritual connection isn't limited.
Limited by what?
By our background, by our past mistakes, by anything really.
It's open to everyone.
Grafting shows us that anyone can find their place in that cosmic orchard.
Anyone can connect to something bigger than themselves.
Exactly.
And even when we feel totally lost or disconnected,
yeah.
there's always a way back.
Always.
And it's a journey we take together, right?
Of course.
Supporting each other along the way.
That's what it's all about.
That's a powerful message to end on. Thanks for taking us on this journey of grafting.
It's been a pleasure.
May we all continue to seek that connection, cultivate growth, and help the tree of life flourish.
Beautifully said.